Welcome to the second part of the training. Now we will begin to introduce deeper on the laser cutter and the corresponding safety and emergency procedures. Per manufacturer information, Fusion Maker 12 is a Class 2 laser product using CO2 laser. It complies with international requirements 21 CFR 1040 and IEC 6082 5:1. Some important features will be introduced one by one in the following slides. A laser source is located behind the machine with cooling fans on top to keep it from overheating. A mirror system transfers the laser beam to the lens cartridge, which is a component equipped with a pipe to convey compressed air for cooling and a lens to focus the laser beam on material surface. A protective lid with a transparent window, which is also an access door, is located on top of the machine. Users are supposed to use it to load or unload material and monitor the situation inside during processing. Inside the chamber, there is a metal grid to support the material to be processed. One set of mechanical systems move the grid up and down to bring the material surface to focal plane of laser beam, while another set of mechanical systems move the lens cartridge in XY direction to control where to process. Besides, there is also a red dot laser pointer that aligns with the CO2 laser beam location to indicate the exact location going to be processed. An interlock system is installed to couple the laser and protective lid. It ensures that the laser is turned off immediately if the protective lid is open to protect the user. It is a protection mechanism. Users are not supposed to defeat it or open the lid when the laser is operating. Other covers or enclosures do not have an interlock mechanism. They need tools for opening or fixing. All covers or enclosures should always be properly installed and fixed before the laser is operating. There is a Go Stop Pushing button located just below the panel on the right-hand side of the machine. It can control the start of the operation when the drawing and setting are ready. It can also be used to pause the operation, in which laser would be turned off and lens cartridge would move back to default location. Never take opening the protective lid to use the interlock as a way to pause the operation, since the lens cartridge would still operate even the laser is turned off. An air assist pump is installed to supply compressed air to the lens cartridge to constantly provide a stream of air to the cutting surface to remove heat and combustible gases. It is important for cooling and minimizing fire risks. Always ensure it is turned on. An air filtering system is connected to the laser machine at the back using a metal duct. The air filtering machine serves as an exhaust to remove the harmful fumes, dust, debris, and smell generated during laser processing. Ensure it is turned on before use. Before laser processing, the material top surface has to move to the plane where the laser is focused by the lens. Autofocus and manual focus modes are available. Autofocus mode itself has two more options. In thickness mode, users need to input material thickness. In plunger mode, the platform will move up until the plunger is touched, then move back to the correct height. Manual focus mode will need the user to set a gauge and manually adjust the grid height until the gauge touches the material surface. Do remember to flip the gauge back to its locked position before running jobs. The Iris Camera Positioning System supports live viewing a design on a computer, showing the system where to do the laser processing on the material. After an introduction of the essential features, now we move on to the safety. First of all, keep in mind the safety guidelines for a Class 2 laser product from EMSD, which suggest that Class 2 laser product is not inherently safe for the eyes, but protection by natural aversion responses, such as blink reflex, is usually adequate. Never view directly into a laser beam. Never aim the laser beam at someone's eyes. Before you start your work, Ensure you know where the fire extinguishing equipment in the prototyping room is. Do remember that you can only use the material provided by the library for both laser cutting and engraving. It is a crucial step to ensure only identified and suitable material is being processed. As mentioned before, PVC is strictly prohibited as it emits fumes toxic to human and corrosive to machine. Never leave the laser machine unattended to ensure quick response to emergency. Never turn on the laser with debris and small material pieces inside the laser engraver, especially from under the grid. They can catch fire. Never run the laser if either air filtration or assist pump is off. It would cause poor cooling and ventilation to filter harmful fumes. Never run the laser if the protective lid is not closed properly. Although interlock mechanism exists, users should still do the best for self-protection. Never proceed with the laser processing if heavy or irritating odor is smelled. Never operate the machine with any covers or enclosures removed, or with the protective lid unable to close properly. Never block or damage the safety interlock between the laser and its protective lid. Never amend, disassemble, or remove any parts. Never put items that block the cooling fans or vents on either side. Never focus on the metal grid, especially when you use autofocus. Never leave the gauge down after manual focus. Never open the protective lid when the laser cutting or engraving is being conducted. Never run the laser when the temperature of prototyping room is higher than 32 degrees Celsius. It will also void the warranty. Never use excessive laser power. Remember, there is no universal setting for all material. Here are some good habits to remember for a safe operation. When you draw, avoid putting cutting lines too close or too dense. A suggestion guide would be provided in later slide. Remove obvious dust and debris from grid and chamber. Ensure air filtering, air assist pump are on, and that the protective lid is closed properly. Use the correct power and speed settings suitable for different materials. If you're unsure about the power and speed, start attempting with a low power. Test run with small and dummy area of material. If the power is found okay, run with part of the drawing to double confirm before moving on to the whole drawing. When the operation is finished, open the protective lid only after the laser and lens carriage has fully stopped and turned off, and wait at least 30 seconds for fumes to be extracted and filtered. Wear face masks if needed. As discussed before, laser-processed material can be very hot. Retrieve your laser-cut item only after it has cooled down. Handle laser-cut items with care, as surfaces may be hot and edges sharp. Wear protective gloves if needed. Remove all debris and items after use. It would be a great help for the next user. Here is a guide to minimize fire risk from the aspect of design. The design, as shown, can cause rapid heat buildup. The burning risk will even increase thicker material, since it is harder for heat to dissipate. Firstly, avoid cutting many small or densely packed features in a limited area. It will keep heating up the area. Secondly, avoid placing parallel lines too close. It would also concentrate heat in the small gap. A quick design guide to minimize burning risk. Keep spacing between cutting lines and between also cutting line and edge at least equal to the material thickness. A general rule of thumb is given here. Here is a concise guide to protecting the machine. Ensure enough clearance below the lens carriage or the gauge before focusing. Load the material properly on the grid to avoid unpredicted movement. It should be flat and parallel to the grid. Never put your hand inside the chamber during focusing. If you use autofocus mode, in thickness mode, ensure you know material thickness and you have inputted the material thickness value. Use caliper to measure if necessary. In plunger mode, ensure the material is already loaded properly before autofocus. Be cautious. Focus on metal grids would potentially cause not only poor processing quality but also laser and mechanical damage to the grid. If you use manual focus mode, properly set the gauge, then slowly adjust the height of the material to touch the gauge. Don't forget, you must flip the gauge back to its locked position after manual focus. Now let's discuss the emergency procedures. When in operation, remember that you should never leave the machine unattended. Stay calm and keep monitoring. You may see flame following the moving path of the laser beam. If the flame immediately goes off after the laser beam moves, you may continue. If the flame doesn't go off after the laser beam moves away, or if a heavy or irritating odor is smelled, push the Go Stop button. This will shut off the laser beam and the lens carriage, and the laser beam will move aside and then pause. Then immediately seek help from the nearest library staff. There are set control procedures to be taken by library staff to handle. After the problem is solved, figure out the causes and take preventive measures before continuing the trial. In an emergency, cut off the power supply of the laser machine. The button is located on the right-hand side near the back of the machine. Immediately seek help from the nearest library staff. For emergency responses related to fire, always be familiar with HKBU emergency procedures. If the situation is safe to do so, you or a member of the staff may try to put out the fire using firefighting equipment. Our staff will report the fire incident to security or suitable parties afterwards. This is the end of the laser safety training session. Remember, always put safety first. Please feel free to discuss with us if you have any questions. Thank you.